Very good afternoon, dear students. And today's subject teacher for business communication, Dr. Prakash Behikati. So I am welcoming Dr. Prakash Behikati also for giving a time for the today's session. So Prakash Behikati sir is working in the Center for Distance and Online Education, Shivaji, Kolhapur as an assistant professor who have a good amount of teaching experience for UG and PG. So I warm welcome him to today's session. Also, I welcome to all of you students. So now I request to Deputy Sir to start the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kamlakar, sir, that you have given opportunity to me to guide the students of M.B.A. first year, especially that who admitted in the Center for Distance and Online Education. So, at the very outset, I would like to welcome all the students who are now being presented for today's session. So, as Kamlakar sir has already introduced me, so I'm not going to introduce myself once again, but I would like to prepare, I would like to initiate my session now. So anyway, at the very outset, before beginning or commencement, before beginning of the lecture or session, I would like to introduce today's paper, which I'm going to deal with you people. So the paper that titled Business Communication for you people, I mean, it is prescribed for semester first. So as I told you that let me introduce 4 units that you are going to study in this um, semester first. So first of all, I would like to introduce unit 1, 2, 3, 4 so that we can have overall information or overall units and its sub units so that you will have a sort of blueprint what is the syllabus and how we are going to study it one by one in by this lecture. So anyway, unit number 1, as I told you, there are 4 units. Unit number 1, a theory, meaning, importance, and objective of business communication. Principle of communication, forms of communication, process of communication, barriers of effective communication, techniques of effective communication. So these are the sub-elements that we have to study in unit number 1A, and it is considered as a part of theory. Whatever I just introduced you or pronounced before you, meaning, importance, objectives of business communication, principle of communication, forms of communication, process of communication, all these are the sub points of theoretical part of unit number 1, that is business communication. In part B, you will have written communication. In part B, you will have written communication in which we will study business letters. So when we say that business letters, we have different forms or types of business letters that we have to study in this part B. So you will have in business letters different kinds of types of letters, especially purchase letters, sales letter, inquiries, complaint letters, claims, adjustment and collection letters, banking corresponding letters, etc. So these are the important the types or kinds of letters that one has to learn. One has to learn and use it after completing your M.B.A course. Or when you will have a job concerned with your M.B.A, you have to know, you have to tackle, you have to write all types of letters, and that is expected or assumed by assumed that you are eligible to write all types of letters. Okay. So that is why you have to study, you have to know the skills of writing letters, especially the different types of letters related to your business communication. So this is the unit 1 that I just recently introduced to you people, including A and B part. Now you will have unit number 2. Again, there is A and B part. There are 2 parts. The A part dealt with um, application letter. You know, application letter is a very easy one that I think so far you might have several times practiced it. That application letter, you will see that covering letter, how to write covering or cover letter, especially. Also, you have to know here biodata or curriculum vitae that we say in other words. Interview letters. Interview letters, it includes appointment letters, invitation letter for facing an interview or giving an interview. Also, you will have letter of references or letter of reference. That letter of reference in that sense, the letter of recommendation, that whom you are already acquainted with, well acquainted, the person should write a letter of recommendation. So how it should be written in the form of recommendation? How you are going to refer or give recommendation to your boss or to someone that you like most, or you know the particular person, and so and so. So later you will see that letter of appointments, letter of confirmation, promotion, uh, resignation letter is also important here. If you don't want, if you want to get your resignation, if you don't want to, if you want to join to other companies, you have to write a letter of resignation. So these are the types of letters that you will study in unit number 2. Later in B part, you will have writing reports. Again, we have different types of reports. Types of reports in which we have components of formal reports, business report, reports by individual, reports by a community or committee, and so on. So things are there. So you will study the such type of elements or parts of reports in unit number 2. That is just I introduce you. And now you will see unit number 3, where again we have A and B part, in which we have one part is there. A is theory and B is practical one. Again, you will have oral communication, in which we have description that I just have one call, but I couldn't receive it because my lecture is ongoing. Anyway, later you will see that recording and closing observations methods. So these are some oral communication types of the nature that just I told you people. And in B part, you will see that meaning and importance of group discussion, or even you can include here group debate. And most important thing is that interviews and interview methods. So how facing an interview, giving an interview is a very important aspect that one has to know after M.B.A. or after completing your the required qualification. You have to face an interview. So the preparation of interview is also an important thing that on which your the future is based, on which your future, your education or academic career is totally based on it. So the preparation of interviews is very important factor or aspect that you have to study in unit number 3. And group discussion is also important, because group discussion is a part of interview that sometimes MNCs companies always arrange such type of group discussion or group debates, and they just identify whether you are liable, whether you are eligible to be a leadership or not, and so and so. So in unit number 3 is very important unit that you have to study very minute and clearly, in a clear way. Unit number 4, the last one unit is here, non-verbal expressions. No, despite using the verbal expression or verbal communication, we have to defend, we have to use non-verbal communication too. Non-verbal in that sense that the use of your body or limbs of your body or part of your body should be used whenever you speak, whenever you talk, whenever you converse, whenever you interview with your experts. So they work as a supportive role to the particular communication. It may be in interview, it may be in teaching, it may be in conversation, and so on and so forth. So non-verbal expressions that includes body language, gestures, postures, facial expression, uh, and dress codes. So all of these the things, these aspects are parts of our body are very important. The only thing is that how we have to use it. So all limbs are already you possess. That is your body itself is a sort of a speaker. Your body itself a sort of speaker or a talker that you just use it whenever you talk, whenever you talk in an oral way. So the body language is also very important thing that we will study in the last one, that is in unit number 4. And then in part B, you will have application of electronics media. So nowadays, we people are habituated, or we have to depend on the electronic media, especially whenever we say send email, whenever we have to communicate through Facebook, whenever we have to communicate through WhatsApp group. So all these the parts are electronic media. So application of electronics media and communications, telecommunication, teleconferencing, fax, email, social communication network, and so on. So you must acquaint all of these the social medias or the agent of social medias, you can say in this way. So you have to know instead of only resting on the print media, you have to you have to know the art or skill of electronic media too. Because it is nowadays it is a popular and it is a time consuming. Instead of time consuming, it is very easy to communicate. It is easy to reach onto the last. It may be your customer, it may be your friend, it may be your colleagues, it may be in your the uh, administrative managerial part as a part of the system. So just I introduced you people the 4 units that you have to study in this semester. So now I will turn to the unit number 1, where you will see that unit number 1 I just introduced to you. There are few important elements that we have to study in this session that I have to complete in this in today's session. That A and B part, where we have to the first of all tackle. We have to first of all know business communication meaning and definition. That is the meaning, the importance and objective of business communication. And the B part is written communication. So the both part we will complete in this session. So let us see what is mean by business communication and so and so. So at the very outset, we have to know that what is mean by communication or meaning of the communication, or what are the definition that we have to study in this session in order to understand business communication. So before dealing with business communication, we have to know that what is mean by communication, or what are the definition, or what is the nature of communication, and so on. So the word communication is derived from the Latin word communus. COMMUNIS. The word communication is derived from the Latin word communus, means to share. Share in that sense that you are sharing your ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions, information, knowledge, etc. It may be in social context, it may be in a political context, it may be in economic context, whatever it may be in the context of business. But you have to share it. If you share your emotions, feelings, or whatever it may be, then only you can achieve, then only you can communicate whatever you intended to send your message to the sender, so the message to the receiver. Sorry. So thus the nearest meaning of the term communication is making the facts, information thoughts or ideas common through speech, through conversation, through writing, through gestures. So it should be a common one. When you share, it is automatically be considered as a common, because you uncover through sending your message to the mass, to the individuals, to the organization, whoever may be, because organization, mass, or individuals are the part and parcel of the process of communication, through which we have to talk, through which we have to communicate, so that the receiver can receive the message and understand in a better way. So the sharing and making common is very important thing. That is a part of a process of communication. Anyway, in simple words, the communication can be understood as an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more persons. So by two or more persons. So here the one person cannot and will not be completed the process of communication. Here at least the connection between two or more people to exchange their knowledge or ideas is communication. In the opinion of some others, or in the opinion of the scholars, the connection between two or more people to exchanging their knowledge or ideas is communication. So exchange is important here. Whatever it may be, you exchange it in the form of message, in the form of written, in the form of oral, whatever it may be. But exchanging is very important. That the exchange takes up the process. So what type of exchange? It may be knowledge or information in the context of business communication, in the context of society. It may be emotions, feelings, and so on and so. So let us see the exact definition that we have a number of scholars, number of critics, number of authors who tried their level best to define communication. So here we have a little. Communication is the process by which information is transmitted between individuals and our organization, so that an understanding response results. So here you see that how Peter Little has the prepared the communication definition, which includes or which says that their communication requires a process. So through process, you can complete your communication system. You can reach to your receiver. So without process, you cannot, will not reach to the receiver. You cannot and will not send a message to the receiver. So process should be there. It should be maintained, and through process, you can transmit your information, ideas, or whatever it may be between individuals. Means between two persons, or two or more than two persons, or between organizations. Means that from one company to another company, or from one organization to another organization. So organizations are also included in this definition. So between individual and organization, or between individuals, or between organizations. So it covers all this type of the agents. It may be in organization, means that it may be in a company. Individuals mean that the worker, it may be the manager level, it may be a administrative level, it may be a lower level, it may be a higher level, whoever may be, but it includes individuals. So that an understanding response results. So when you send your message to the desired person, he can understand, and again he will give you a feedback to you. So in this way, the communication process starts and completes. So exchange is very important between two or more than two persons, or between two or more than two organizations. See, a single person cannot complete a communication. Okay, so this is the definition. In fact, a number of definitions are available to us, but today we will see or concentrated only one, general communication, that we just tackled. And accordingly, communication happens when someone writes and publishes a book. Suppose, in which way or in which situation communication occurs? When someone, you just imagine that you are there and you are writing a book, you are writing a paper, you are writing a novel, you are writing a drama, you are writing an article, So when you write an article, means that through an article you are communicating to your readers. So when you write books, means that the readers are your receiver. So through book you are communicating, you are exchanging your information, you are exchanging your knowledge, you are exchanging your ideas, emotions, thought, whatever it may be. So these are the agents of the communication. So when you talks and listen something, so someone talks and listens something, question occur. Is also communication occurs. There also communication occurs. When someone watches TV videos or short film, communication occurs. When someone releases a TV program, when someone advertisement, communication occurs through the communication, through the electronic media. He wanted to advertise, he wanted to give information, he wanted to give knowledge regarding their product or regarding their company or whatever it may be. So this is the communication, the process which occurs during the time of your communication. And when you views, when you watch TV programs, communication happens, because indirectly or directly, you people come to know that whatever message you are receiving and the sender trying to give you. So this is the communication way that communication happens in our daily routine life. So now we will turn to the business communication. In fact, it is a number of parts are there that I have to complete in one session. I mean, I have to complete one unit in this session. So anyway, now we will turn to the business communication. So it is very easy. Just we have seen, studied the general communication, how it occurs, what is the definition of communication, so and so. You just now consider that it is easy to understand, and the term business communication. Business communication is the specialized branch or of a general communication. Whatever we have just seen, that is the general communication. Within that general communication, you will see here a business communication. So, and it is concerned with business activities. Business communication often concerned with business activities, business affairs, business transactions, you can say in that way. So, knowledge and information is very important here. Knowledge and information is very important, because in business communication, or in business, or in organization, or in any MNC companies or corporate, there is an exchange of information and knowledge. It doesn't merely mean that there is no any emotion, there is no any feelings, or no any ideas, no any thought. All these things are there, but especially whenever we have exchange, whenever we have transmission, we transfer knowledge or information. So between two companies, for example, between NASA and between ISRO, if there is a MOU, memorandum of understanding, so it is an agreement that is also considered as a between two organization. So business related activities are considered here as a part of communication. Anyway, so you will see that information, facts, knowledge, etc. are transmitted to another person in business organization for carrying out or carry out the business activities. So business, in order to complete or carry the business activities, you have to transfer, you have to exchange ideas, thoughts, feelings, information, knowledge from one person to another person, from one organization to another organization, so that you can easily complete your activities. A business organization also constantly communicates with all its stakeholders too. Maybe a stakeholders, maybe a customer, so and so. So in other words, the term business communication refers to the process of transferring information from one person to another within and outside the business environment. It is very important word. In other words, the term business communication refers to the process of transferring information from one person to another within and outside the business environment. It is very important. So within and outside the environment means, in that, going within means inside the communication, means that the communication whatever takes place within the organization, that is between the employees, between the administrative or managerial level and employees. Or when we say that outside the organization, there we have a customers. They may be that you have to communicate with the stakeholders, customers, purchasers, salesperson, so on and so soon. So the inside communication is equally important that outside business environment. So both the courses, the inside and outside, are included in business communication, through which the business is nowadays run by the business organizational level management. You will see that there is a William Scott who define a business, who try to define business communication as administrative communication is a process. Business communication means nothing but a administrative communication is a process which involves the transmission and accurate application of ideas, which involves the transmission and accurate application of replication of ideas ensured by feedback for the purpose of eliciting actions which will accomplish organizational goals. So it includes, or he highlights or give much and more importance to the administrative communication. That is a managerial level communication. It may be includes the internal one or outward one. It may be includes a lower level to higher level designation. But the purpose is to the complete the business communication with the help of feedback. So feedback is the important element in business communication, not only in business communication, but in order to complete the communication process or communication, feedback is the very important that one has to get from receiver, so that the center can understand that his message is reached to the receiver. So let us turn now to the importance of business communication, that you have to know the importance of communication, or why we have to communicate in the business or in the context of business instead of social context, how it is very helpful to us, how it plays the crucial role in order to complete, in order to enhance the business is very important. At the outset, we see that managerial efficiency. So due to the communication, if you communicate, or communication helps in the smooth operation of management, because everything is resolved. If there is a problem, if there is a sink, if there is any doubt or problem emerge within the or outside the business, it is the only communication through which you can resolve it, through which you can resolve or solve the particular the issue, whatever is being emerged in your organization or in any organization. So a managerial task can only be performed when communication system is effective. Okay. So let us see now that the second one important thing is that the enhance moral and relations. Enhance moral and relations. So effective communication emphasizes the employees' participation in management. Why in business the communication is important here? Because communication enhances moral and relations. Effective communication emphasizes the employees' participation in management. So employees' participation is very important. After all, it is the only employees who work there. And that is why their participation, their activity participation, their contribution, it may be in the level of management, in the level of work or whatever it may be, but their participation is very important. So because of the communication, the such type of relations should be made healthy because of communication. So effective communication emphasizes the employees' participation in management. It helps to build the employees' moral and cordial industrial relations between management and employees. So in order to stout or to make a sturdy or healthy relationship between employees and management or manager level, the communication should properly be done, or the communication be used frequently in the organization. One more thing is that effective leadership can be developed. Effective leadership can be developed, or effective leadership depends on effective communication. So that is why the communication is very important. So to create a good leadership, or in effective leadership, two-way communication helps in effective communication. There is a two-way communication helps in effective communication. A manager leader must handle the subordinates. Manager leader must handle the subordinates. That is very important. So there is a hierarchy that I already told you, that lower level to higher level, there is a hierarchy through which we can try to communicate. We can try to administrate within the organization, or outside the organization, where you will see that a manager level person must show his leadership, and it can be possible only if he or she possess uh, effective communication skills or communication skills. So in this way, the communication has its own importance, that it creates a effective leadership or leaders, so that the company can run, company can enhance its the business from single to multinational, because we should achieve. So effective leadership can be possible only through the effective communication. Later we will see that one more thing that we have to concentrate on: mutual trust and confidence is very important. Mutual trust and confidence between labor and management are necessary. Between labor and management are necessary for the effective movement of the organization. So there is the coordination, mutual understanding between employees and management is very important, so that the manager level or administrative level should be a smooth one. When there is effective communication, it helps to reduce misunderstanding especially, and develop mutual trust. So in order to reduce misunderstanding, in order to give a proper message to or in order to give the proper message unto the last member, that is unto the last worker or your customer, there should be a mutual understanding, and it is possible to create the mutual understanding only through the communication. Later you will see that better decision is also possible if you have a good communication with your employees. The success of an organization can be measured in better decisions, because decision making or policy making always play a crucial role, through which one can develop or enhance its organization or its business. So when the information, data, and order or other fact are not effectively communicated, it hampers the decision making. So that the decision, whatever you take, whatever the decision making is there, or policies are there, or whatever the goals and objectives are there, they are already defined or formed by the manager level, and it should be reached to the or it should be spread among the employees or other stakeholders, so that the better decision should be implemented uh, in the organization, are communicated to concerned department, organization, and person. It is easy to make decisions promptly. It is easy to make decisions promptly because of communication. So communication, the business communication in this way helps, in this way enhance, in this way promotes the management system. Later you will see the stopping. When the information are correctly communicated in time, it is, or it helps in the function of selection, placement, socialization, promotion, and transfer. So all these things, in order to select the staff member, the employees, or socialization, or in order to give the promotion to the customer who are already working inside or in the company, or in order to transfer their the place from one place to another person. So all these the process of the part of the organization can be possible only through the business communication or effective communication. A better managerial concern. All managerial functions such as planning, organization, directing, controlling, etc., can't be conducted without communication. So planning is very important. In each and every organization or any business, a plan should be first of all planned. then only you go ahead according to the plan, whatever you have had. So plan is very important. And the directing is also important. Whatever you planned, it should be implemented by giving direction. So direction is also important. Controlling on whatever the plan is there, whatever your direction is there, or whatever your employees are there. So all these things are should be better way approved due to the only good communication. So in this way, we have a number of important factors that we have to consider here in the business communication. Later, we will see now objective of the communication system or communication. What type of objectives are there that we can that we have to achieve in business communication. So through communication we can achieve some sort of the objectives that to exchange information is either the major motto or major goal that we have to exchange. Without exchange we can't and will not communicate with our customer, with our whoever may be there, with our agents. It may be inside communication, it may be outside communication. So everything depends on the communication, and the exchange of information is very important. Suppose if you take a decision or you prepared up your policies and you shouldn't talk with or pass or spread the particular message or information to your customers or to your agents, how could you the progress, how could you the work, how could you implement your planning, your administration. So the main objective of business communication is to exchange information with internal and external parties, as I already told you that. So through the circular, through the member, through the notice, you can communicate within the organization, and through the other mass. For example, circular is also there. For example, through the electronic media is also there. Through the letters, through the report writing, you can communicate with the external one. So internal communication occurs within the organization through orders, instructions, suggestions, opinion, etc. So to exchange information is very important thing here. In that should be the major objective that one has to purchase, one has to complete. The second one is that to implement the plan, whatever I just told you, that whatever you planned, that should be implemented in organization, so that you can enhance your group, so you can enhance your organization. So once a plan is prepared, it is to be implemented. So implementation of plan requires timely communication. Timely communication. So the time shot should be there. Time shot should be one can achieve, so that he can achieve all other things. So timely communication with the concerned parties. Thus, the communication aims at transmitting a plan throughout the organization for its successful implementation. For its successful implementation. So that is also the important objective. One of the important objectives that one has to achieve. So implementation of plan is also important. Through the communication, you can implement effectively, not only the plain implementation there, important implement. So to develop plan, as I already told you, the implement of the plan, and now we will see here to facilitate policy formulation. So policies are guidelines for performing organizational activities. Policies are guidelines for performing organizational activities. Policies are also termed as standing decisions to recurring problems. Every organization needs to develop a set of policies to guide its operations. So that is also one of the important objectives. Therefore, the objective of communication is to collect necessary information for policy formulation. So collection of information is also one of the important objectives in order to in order to define or form a policy. Later you will see that to achieve organizational goal, whatever the goals are already prepared before beginning of the establishment of any organization or any business, that should be achieved. The goals should be achieved. Organizational goals should be achieved. That is very important. So collective reports of both managers and workers are essential for achieving organizational goals. Communication coordinates and synchronizes the efforts of employees at various levels to achieve the stated goals of the organizations. Later, you will see that to organize resources is also one of the important objectives that one has to achieve. Resources are very important. Without resources, you can't move, you can't do. It may be at the material level, it may be at the employees level. Employees are also known as resources. So, to organize resource is also one of the important objectives. Various kinds of resources are available in an organization, such as man or such as the human resources, material resources, financial resources, and so on. So, in organizing these resources in an effective and efficient way is a key challenge to the managers. After all, he is the head, he is the manager level boss. That he has such type of authority, he has such type of power through power exercising. He should be achieved. He should be achieved the to organize resources. So resources should be collected. Resources should be collected and they should be work in a smooth way. That I told you, human resources, material resources. So there should be a coordination. Then only you can achieve. Then only you can organize all these resources and you can run your company or organization in a smooth way. To coordinate, coordination is a basic management function. Look at the coordination. The coordination between employees, coordination between the internal and outside or outward management, coordination between one section to another section, coordination between one company to another company or one organization to another organization. So these are the important that objectives that one has to achieve here. So coordination is a basic management function. It involves linking the various functional departments of large organizations. Suppose if you have a number of companies that we call here manage MNC companies, or if your bank has a number of branches, through the headquarter, you have to coordinate it. And that is the one of the important objectives that you can achieve it through the communication. So the communication, the process of communication or effective communication can achieve all these things. So leadership or the person who is leading leading an organization should possess such type of should possess effective communication skills, so that he can achieve all the organizational objectives, whatever are there or whatever the company has given to the managerial message team. So coordination is a basic management function. It involves linking the various functions, departments of large organizations. Without proper and timely coordination and achievement of organizational goals is impossible. So time is also very important. Suppose it should be, if there is a target that within a week you have to complete, you have to gather the material that is being resources. If it is not fulfilled, if you couldn't get the resource from outside the agents, you cannot produce the material. So it depends. The timely or time factor is also important here. Okay. So now we will turn or move to the next one, objectives. That there are a number of objectives that you will see, that to orient employee, to convey employee reaction, to increase job satisfaction, to improve labor management, is relationships, to bring dynamism, to increase efficiency, to create consciousness, to direct the subordinates. All these are the objectives that one has to achieve in management or managerial level. So now we will see the principles of communication is very important. Principles of communication. Effective communication improves the productivity and efficiency of business. Effective communication improves the productivity and efficiency of business. So when you communicate in the medium of language. Not only the medium of, not only you use the language, but along with language, you use different types of tools, instrument Even you can include your body language. So body language, different types of instrument, tools, all are included in effective ways through which you can communicate, through which you can reach unto the last in an effective way, so that you can achieve all the objectives, whatever we have seen recently. So how your language should be now in the context of language, how your language should be there. It may be in oral way or it may be in a written way, maybe in the medium of electronic, maybe in the medium of print, whatever the medium is there, but it should be a effective one. So in order to effective the communication, you should know the principle of clarity. Principle of clarity, because you know that your receiver is if suppose if your receiver is illiterate, and if you are using the standard or complex language, it is highly impossible to reach to him, that you couldn't give your message to the that illiterate person, because he is illiterate. So you should consider here, you should consider here who who to whom you are communicating, who he is, that I mean, who is your receiver. So all these things are very important. So let us see the first of all the principle of clarity. Understanding message in the express sense is a crux of effective communication. The intended message should be reached and should be understood by the receiver. Then only you can achieve your communication level objective. So message should be understood. So when it should be understood, only when your message, when you see that when you prepare with clarity. So message should be clear one. If the message is misunderstood or wrongly interpreted, there would be either miscommunication or no communication at all. Suppose there is something is the dilemma, some sort of ambiguity is there. Ambiguity is lie in your message. It should not be properly reached to the, or it should not be properly understood by your customer, or if it is reached, it should be it would be reached in a miscommunicated way. A misunderstanding would happen with your message. So the first of all, that clarity should be maintained in your communication, in your message. The principle of clarity is very important. So your message should be cleared one, clarified one, that as the receiver receives it, and when he reads, he should quickly understand your message. Then only we can say that you can reach, you reached to the receiver. Later you see that principle of conciseness, concise. So this principle states that the message should be conveyed in concise form. The message should be short worded. It should be a short worded, not necessary to include the unessential words in your message. It should not be so lengthy and uh, going away from the main contents. You should stick to the contents. So instead of beating around the bush, you should beat directly. You should directly beat to the bush. That motto should be used or carried. Should be carried in your message, in your language. So it will be time and cost effective as well as helpful for a better understanding. Minimum words should be used so that you can you can have a minimum time too. So same thing happens with receiver. You should also receive, you should also read and quickly understand because of your conciseness. So the lyrical, idiomatic, avoidable, and jargon of complicated words should be strictly avoided. Unnecessary words and excessive parts of the message create difficulty in understanding. Okay, so concentrate on the conciseness. Principle of correctness is also very important. Along with clarity, conciseness, principle of correctness is also very important. The principle implies that the message should be content wise and grammatically correct. So errorless the language should be used there. Without having any grammatical mistake, you should you should prepare your message. The correct message increases the trust between the sender and receiver. If you make any mistake in a grammatical way, in a spelling, in a spelling mistake way, or any other mistake way, the receiver should understand in a different way that you are not conscious about your own message, so that he can wrongly understood. He can wrongly understand your message, and he should be usually as a proper words and verbs should be used at proper, and grammatical errors should be avoided.
सगळ्याला
Grammatical
असणार.
be avoided.
So, असणारच. हे नवीन batch आहे.
Hello.
नवीन
Someone-
batch फर्स्ट इयर बीकॉम, फर्स्ट इयर बीए असणार. हा फर्स्ट सेमिस्टर, सेकंड नाही, सेकंडला नाही. आणि हा 10 मार्काचा असाइनमेंट ऑलरेडी क्वेश्चन वेबसाईट वर दिल्यात, ते लिहून जमा करतील सगळे सब्जेक्ट.
Hello, Kamlakar sir. Kamlakar sir.
40
Hello.
मार्काचा पेपर आणि 10 मार्काचा असाइनमेंट.
Kamlakar sir. Hello.
बरोबर. आणि बघ सेकंड इयरचं ते काय ह्याचं आहे की नाही, टॅलीचं कॉर्पोरेटचं, ते काय कर, रेग्युलरचे टॅलीचं काय तर प्रॅक्टिकल घेतात बघ, त्यावेळेला त्यांना बोलवून
Kamlakar.
टॅलीवरती काय तर प्रश्न विचारून ते मार्क द्यायचे आहेत असं ऍक्च्युली.
Kamlakar sir.
हा सेकंड इयर ते मागच्या वर्षी राहिलेलं आहे की नाही आपलं
Kamlakar sir not
फोर्थ
audible
सेमिस्टर, थर्ड सेमिस्टर दोन्ही
to you.
We are having his,
कॉर्पोरेट अकाउंटिंग. हो, थर्ड ला पण असते, फोर्थ ला पण असते
Hello.
कॉर्पोरेट अकाउंटिंग. आणि
Kamlakar sir.
असणार.
Hello. Kamlakar sir. Anyway, I think he now out of his phone. Let us continue. That we have to complete unit first, but I think we don't have that much time to complete in a time restriction. Anyway, I will try my level best to complete in today's session the first one unit. If not possible, then I will again continue by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. But I will complete all the essential factors or elements related to your units. Anyway, as I was with the principle of correctness. Correct.
सीट नंबर पडतो ना.
Hello.
चालतो चालतो. ठीक आहे. हा चालतो.
Anyway, principle of correctness. Sorry, concreteness.
Okay.
After correctness, here we have to see. Here we have to concentrate whenever we prepare our message on concreteness. Kamlakar sir.
चालतो.
Hello. Principle of
Right.
concreteness should be effectively used in whenever we prepare our messages. Okay, so it may be in verbal way or it may be in non-verbal way. Concreteness is an important aspect of communication. The term concreteness means specific, definite, and vivid rather than vague and general. So dilemma should not be there. General statement should not be there, but it should be vivid and definite one. Definite or defined. This principle states that the message should be specific. It should be definite. It should be clear and not general and vague, as just I told you. It should include facts and figures wherever necessary. It should include facts and figures wherever necessary.
अँटीबायोटिक 20 रुपयाच्या खाली अँटीबायोटिक देत नाही तुम्हाला. एक गोळी आहे आणि तुम्हाला आजारी असलं तर मला घ्यावंच लागतं लगेच.
हो कमलाकर सर.
थोडे दिवस इनिशियली काय करते, अंगावर काढते. एवढे हायर होते की तुम्हाला अँटीबायोटिक घेतल्याशिवाय पर्याय झाला.
1 minute.
तुला सर्दीची 5-6 गोळ्या देते तेच ते. ऑनलाईन तर दिसत नाही.
इन्व्हाइट करा की.
कसं झालं असेल. Okay. ते आईचं परवा तुम्ही सांगितलं ते तुम्ही सांगितलं 60 आलं सक्सेसफुल म्हणलं शिवाजी 5 एक्सपेक्टेड आणि रूल
मुंबई पॉलिट टाकलं होतं.
Let us continue. I already informed. I asked to Kamlakar sir to switch off or mute to his speaker. Anyway.
लेक्चर चालू आहे ना.
Hello, Kamlakar sir.
हा
Kamlakar sir. प्रिन्सिपल ऑफ कमलाकर सर तुमचा आवाज सगळीकडे येतोय. आता 5 मिनिट झालं मी तुम्हाला सांगतो पण तुम्ही ऐकत नाहीये. हॅलो. Anyway, let us continue the remaining part of the ongoing important elements, that is principles of communication. So principle of completeness. Principle of completeness. The principles state that the sender should consider the mindset of receiver and convey all the required facts to the message. So he or she should understand, he or she should be aware about the receiver. Who are they and what type of mindset they have. सर तुमचं हे स्पीकर बंद करा की तुमचं स्पीकर मुळे जरा प्रॉब्लेम झाला. 5 मिनिट झालं तुमचं सगळं
बंद करतो.
This principle state that the sender should consider the mindset of a receiver and convey all the required facts through messages. So one should study the mindset of the customer, the mindset of employees, the mindset of the outward agencies, and so on and so forth. Through that, so that you can use the language in that way that the completeness message prevents the need for further communication or need for amending. The word amendments that we always do use sometimes amendments, elaborating and expounding the first messages. So the complete message is very effective one instead of incomplete one. So the word incomplete man. So in that way, the incomplete communication is also important. Which create some sort of effective managerial system, effective managerial management, and so on. So it helps the better decision making by receivers. In short, every message should be adequate and complete. Should not be inadequate. It should be a complete one. It should be adequate one. It should be required words. It should be required the content. It should be required the goals, whatever the sender intended to send messages. So the receiver should clearly understand as where the message ends, or she should not be kept waiting for still something to come. So your incomplete message can create a number of problems. Incomplete message can create a number of doubts, cynics in the minds of receiver. So in order to avoid such types of doubts or cynics or any other the issues that emerge due to the incompleteness, your message should be the adequate. It should be a complete one that you have to concentrate on your communication, that you have to concentrate on the message whenever you prepare to deliver to your receiver. So completeness is also important, concreteness is also important, correctness is important, conciseness is important, clarity is also important. So all these things are aspects are very important. that they always create some sort of a good relationship, good they maintain your receiver, they maintain good personality too, for use such type of principles. So having without any mistake, you can, if you use your language in effective way, your communication or your personality should be known as a effective personality one. So now let's complete continue principle of courteousness. That is the principle state that the sender should be polite. Courteousness, O-U-R-T-E-O-U-S-E-S-S, principle of courteousness, that the principle state that the sender should be polite, enthusiastic, reflective, sincere, and show the respect towards receivers while communicating with them. In communication, it is very important to consider the feelings of receivers sympathetically, because the receiver is the foremost. Receivers mean in that sense that receivers, he may be your employee, that you have to calculate him. The receiver may be your customer. All your product, all your company or organization based on totally your customer. So receiver is just like a Atiti Devo Bhava, very well. Here the customer is also known in the same way. That customer is a God, that you have to keep in that way. So you have to maintain your language, you have to maintain your communication in a polite way. Politeness should be there. That sympathy should be there. Enthusiastic should be expressed in the form of oral or in the form of written, and it will be a sincere one. So all these elements also helpful or help to be an effective communication method. And last one is the principle of coherence is also important. Principle of coherence is also important. The idea in a message should be organized in a logical order and connected effectively by using transition words and phrases. Okay, so you should also concentrate whenever you want to be now. I think you have already possessed some sort of the qualities, some sort of efficacies of communication. But the effective communication is important here. So in order to the effective communication in your personality, or if you want to possess the effective communication skills, you must go ahead by having these principles of communication. So otherwise, generally, each and everyone speak, each and everyone talk, but the communication should not be considered as a effective one. So be a effective one and be create effective personality. We should go ahead with these principles. So you have to concentrate on these principles whenever you prepare, whenever you talk, whenever you do any speech, or whenever you do any message. Okay, so that you can definitely achieve all the intended goals or desired output from your receiver, and you should be stood as a effective leader or a good personality that you may possess. So let us see now forms of communication. Now let us complete this one type, element, and then we will stop today's session because it is a very vast one, I think so. And within this limited time, I cannot complete the given target that I have to complete unit number 1 in today's session, but it is highly impossible for me to complete the whole unit within the stipulated time. So I would like to complete in today's session only for now forms of communication. There are different types or forms of communication that we very well. There are different types of communication like formal, informal communication based on the organizational relationship. So on the structure of organization relationship, you have a formal and informal communication, as well as a vertical and horizontal and a diagonal communication based on direction. Based on the structure, we will you will have formal and informal communication. Based on direction, you will have upward communication, downward communication, horizontal communication. Later you see that direction in which people communicate in the organization, and oral, written, and gestural communication on the channel through which people communicate. So through the channel, you will have oral communication, written communication, gestural communication. Through the direction, you will have upward communication, downward communication, horizontal communication, and through the structural level, you will have formal and informal communication. These are the forms or types of communication that you know. But here we will see interpersonal communication. Sorry, intrapersonal communication. Someone's speaker is on, so he or she should be muted. Your speaker. So intrapersonal communication, let us see intrapersonal. It is one of the important forms of communication through which you two communicate. It is communicating with oneself. So word intra itself indicates the intra means you are internally communicating. Intra communication, it is communicating with oneself. While communicating with self, the same person acts as a sender as well as the receiver of the message. You just imagine, you just exercise, you just experience such type of communication. That intra communication, when you speak with yourself, that considering the two, there are two minds, and one mind communicate with another one, another one. So both minds lie in our personality. So whenever we speak ourselves, it is called as a intrapersonal communication. So the such type of communication occur whenever we try to say something, whenever we have some sort of effectiveness of the particular message, we try to speak ourselves. म्हणजे आमच्यासाठीच आपण बोलतो बा कधी कधी, or someone is there who speak individually without having any external the sources, without having any external person. He speaks himself and try to satisfy try to impose some sort of message, some sort of decision, some sort of policies, some sort of goals on his own personality, so that he can try to build his own effective personality. So intra means inside a person or a group. Intra means inside a person or a group. It should be applicable to group, within the group, not outside the group. Usually it operates when one plans, reflects, or gets closer to one's feelings. Gets closer to one's feelings. So it is concerned with thoughts and analysis. Self-talk is also known as an intra-personal communication. Inner speech. Imagination is also considered as a the intrapersonal communication. Try to understand internal communication and interpersonal communication and intrapersonal communication. You have to know, you have to study. Inside a group, usually it operates when one plans, when one reflects or gets closer to one's feelings. It is concerned thoughts. Imagination, you know, whenever sometimes we always often imagine what type of our future would be, how my the academic career should be. In this way, if I were a prime minister or whatever it may be, if I were a professor, if I were a CEO, so in that way, we several times the daily imagine. That imagination is also considered as a intrapersonal communication, because there is no one is there, but you communicate with yourself. The sender are also you play a both role, sender and receiver. You assume yourself that you are a receiver, you assume yourself that you are a sender. So in this way, there is the communication that takes place within the inside or between two minds. You can say in that way. So self-talk, inner speech, imagination, visualization is also important thing through which you can communicate. Visualization, reading aloud, writing, thinking, meditating, singing, analyzing are some of the examples of intrapersonal communication. You should consider, you should know here that these are some important examples of intrapersonal communication. You may have such type of objective questions on these examples, maybe. Okay, so singing, analyzing some of the, you should also realize why we should call these examples or intrapersonal communication. Okay. Later you see that the interpersonal communication. So inter means between two or more than two people, as we have already seen or studied the definition. Inner means between two or more people or groups, between two groups, between two organizations, between two people, and so and so. So interpersonal communication refers to the exchange of ideas and information between two or more than two people. As I already told or disclosed that a single person cannot complete the communication, but he requires two persons. So at least two persons should be there to communicate, to complete the communication. So this can be face-to-face communication. In interpersonal communication, this can be a face-to-face communication. Or suppose if when you visit to the bank where you would like to open your bank account, you have to visit to a manager in order to ask some questions regarding opening the bank account. So when you face some person, it is called as a face-to-face communication. Or whenever you give an interview, it is called also called as a face-to-face communication. Suppose if you if you go at the bus stand, you wanted to travel from Kolhapur to Pune, but you don't know the exact time. So you are there to inquire. So when you talk with the manager of a bus depot, it is called as a face-to-face communication. Uh, uh, Telephone. This can be face to face through telephone. It is also considered as interpersonal communication in written form or online. So it refers to the communication between friends, family, or coordinators between the employees. That is intimate or formal and working relationships. So it creates a sort of a healthy relationship whenever you communicate in a face-to-face way or interpersonal communication. So relationship should be the healthy one if interpersonal communication occurs. The parties involved in interpersonal communication change their roles over from sender to receiver and receiver to sender. So there is an exchange of roles from receiver to sender and receiver, sender to receiver. Because it should be considered as a bilateral communication or trilateral communication. Whenever there is a talk between two nations, it is called as a bilateral communication because there are two representative of each and every nation. So it is called as an interpersonal communication through the representative of both the nations. There is a bilateral communication takes place. So bilateral communication always the communication of healthy known as a healthy communication, strong communication. Anyway, so again you will have within the interpersonal communication there we have some sort of different forms of interpersonal communication are as follows: face-to-face communication, telephonic communication, written communication, electronic forms of communication. Okay, so these are the important forms of communication. Now we will turn to the next one form, that is interviewing. Is also important forms, one of the important forms of communication. Interviewing this communication takes place in the form of question and answer. The word itself indicates that, or the title itself indicates that it requires question answer base. So an interview use a conversation with a purpose. There are different type of purpose. That is why we have a conversation. Sorry, that is why we have interviews. So interviews are conducted in order to achieve a different purpose. They judge the candidates whether they are suitable, whether they are eligible for the particular post or not. So in order to achieve the different purpose, we have interviewing, and it is also one of the important forms through which we can interview. It may be he may be a salesman, he may be a marketing manager. Suppose if you wanted to give your agency to the private market people, in the market, you have to take interview whether the particular person is eligible, whether he is suitable to sell your product in market or not. So it depends on your interview. It depends on your communication with your particular person. So interviewing is also one of the important the forms. Through interview, one can learn about others, have insights about a matter, and he also have seek knowledge on different things. So all these things purposes are achieved through interviewing. So it is also important, one of the important forms of interview, communication. So small group communication is also there. Organizational communication is also there. Public speaking is also important, one of the important mediums of communication. Computer mediated communication, mass communication. So these are the important communication. I didn't give you a clarification regarding these the other forms of communication because they are easy to understand. So we just go ahead with having these communication process. So students, I request now I would like to stop today's session with these the parts of the syllabus of unit number 1. I'm not able to complete all the elements that covered in or prescribed in unit number 1 for your semester first. But in today's session, whatever I have had dealt with you, you should just concentrate on it. And I will continue, not in today's session, but in tomorrow's session, I will continue the remaining part of the syllabus. Okay. Are you there? Hello. Abhijit is your assistant. Yes, so okay, I will continue tomorrow in tomorrow's session, whatever the remaining part is there. But in today's session, I am here completing. Okay. So with these few words, I would like to stop today's session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.